The reason why Peter Griffin should divorce Lois Griffin. If there was ever a marriage that screamed warning signs, it's Peter Griffin's relationship with Lois. But what exactly makes their marriage so messed up? Well, let me break it down for you. Lois has proven time and time again that being a supportive partner is the last thing on her mind. I have spent days digging through the wreckage of their so-called relationship, and trust me, Peter has more than enough reasons to drop the divorce papers. From countless affairs to throwing Peter under the bus whenever it suits her, Lois has truly mastered the art of being a bad wife. So stay tuned because things only get worse as Peter's life with Lois gets harder to bear. Number 1, non-supportive wife. It's difficult enough when you have to handle harassment at work, but when your own spouse doesn't even step up to support you, that's a whole new level of pain.
Oh no, I dropped my pencil.
Oh, I'll get it for you.
Yeah, this is gonna work out just fine. Excuse me.
Peter turns to Lois, hoping for someone to have his back during a vulnerable moment.
Angela grabbed my ass.
So what? Peter, a woman can't sexually harass a man.
Why not?
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, guys like being touched by women.
I didn't like it.
But instead of standing by him, during this tough and vulnerable time, Lois completely dismisses his concerns, brushing off his feelings entirely. Let's be real, a husband needs his wife to stand by him, especially when something as serious as harassment is involved. Her reaction reveals a shocking lack of empathy and trust, leaving Peter to fend for himself and exposing deep cracks in their marriage. As if her lack of support wasn't enough, Lois's reckless behavior adds another layer of concern to their relationship. Number 2, gambling addiction. Lois has a serious gambling problem, and one trip to the Native American casino really shows just how out of control things have gotten. She kept feeding money into the machine, and before she realized it, she'd lost $40. Embarrassing and also a little disappointed, she told Peter about her misstep. Peter tries to reassure her, reminding her that the important thing is to learn from her mistakes.
Ah, that's okay, honey, as long as you learned your lesson.
Oh, I did, Peter. For a couple of minutes.
And for a moment, it seems like she had, but only for a moment. With a nervous laugh, Lois admitted that she'd gone back to playing.
Then, this is so silly, I started playing again.
Things get even worse. When they return to the parking lot, Peter notices she's gambled away the family car. Yes, you heard that right, leaving them stranded with no way to get home. I mean, seriously, if Lois is willing to gamble away something as important as their car, what's next? Peter should be really worried, because one day, it might be more than just the car she risks. But Lois's destructive tendencies don't stop there. Her inability to handle her anger only worsens the situation. Number 3, physical violence. Now, Peter might not be the best husband, but that doesn't give Lois the right to treat him like this.
A stupid man!
Ow, you're hurting me! Stop it, Lois!
No!
One day, Peter goes out of his way to grab some groceries for Lois, doing something nice, right?
So I...
You listen to me, you son of a bitch. I've got one thing in this lifetime. One thing!
But instead of showing gratitude, Lois lashes out violently, attacking both Peter and Chris for no reason at all.
Dad, I got the rest from the car.
Chris, run! You were right! She didn't appreciate it!
Oh, crap!
Lois has a pattern of blowing things up when she's mad. Instead of talking things out, she bottles it up, frustration grows, and it explodes into anger. This is not just unhealthy, it's downright abusive. Well, when you think that you have seen it all, Lois manages to create even more chaos with a former president. Number 4, Lois's affair with Bill Clinton. In one wild episode, former President Bill Clinton rolls into town, and of course, his limo breaks down right in front of the Griffin household. Peter, being Peter, steps in to help, and the two end up becoming pals. Though, let's just say Clinton isn't exactly the best influence on Peter. Things take a turn when Lois finds out that Peter brought home a pig after a crazy night out with Clinton, and she is not happy about it.
What the hell did you and Bill do last night?
So Lois decides to confront Bill at his hotel room, giving him a piece of her mind. But what happens next is straight up insane.
Well, you certainly are very persuasive.
Peter walks in on them in bed together.
Humping you?
Lois, trying to save face, tells Peter that he can sleep with anyone to get back at her.
The only way to even things out between us is if you have sex with someone else.
Yep, you heard that right. As shocking as this affair may be, the next act just shows how far she is willing to go to cross every line imaginable. Number 5. Lois hits on Meg's boyfriend. Lois really crosses the line when she starts flirting with Meg's boyfriend, Anthony. Now, Anthony isn't just your typical teenage guy, and at first, all he does is give Lois a compliment, but Lois takes it way too far.
Well, it was very nice meeting you, Anthony.
You too, Mrs. Griffin. Thanks for having me over for dinner.
She starts getting all flirty and even fantasizes about Anthony, completely forgetting that he is underage.
Oh my God, that's kind of hot.
Things get even creepier when Lois tries to give Anthony a gift and openly tells him how she feels about him. Then Lois sends Meg outside just so that she could be alone with Anthony. And as they continue completely wrapped up in the moment, Meg walks in, and the atmosphere becomes unbearably tense. Well, at this point, it's clear that Lois has no moral compass. But if you think Lois can get any worse, her extreme reactions to even simple lifestyle changes will prove otherwise. Number 6. Lois goes overboard with minimalism. So Lois picks up a book on minimalism, and surprise, surprise, she takes it way too far. It all begins with the kids' beloved hats. But Lois doesn't stop there. Oh no, poor Brian. Even he can't escape Lois's wrath. Instead of just decluttering, she decides to get rid of pretty much everything in the house, including her entire family. Yep, she literally kicked everyone out and goes full-on minimalist mode. It's like she missed the memo on moderation because the whole thing was just a little too much. And as over the top as that is, Lois's next meltdown takes her chaotic behavior to a whole new level. Number 7. Lois has a birthday meltdown and crushes on Justin Bieber. Now here's where things get really crazy. On Lois's birthday, Peter makes a joke about her age.
Lois, you may not be the young filly you were when I met you, but you're still my reliable old plow horse.
And of course, she flips out. To cope with her meltdown, Lois goes off the rails and ends up at a Justin Bieber concert.
We love you, Justin!
But it doesn't stop there. She completely loses control and tries to sneak into Bieber's green room. Now things get super weird when Lois starts hitting on him. I mean, we're talking about borderline creepy here.
Stop right there. Get away from her.
Peter?
Who are you?
But don't worry, Peter shows up just in time to save the day and prevent an even bigger disaster. Honestly, if I were Peter, I would have picked up my bags and I would have called it quits right then and there. Number 8. Lois, a lesbian. Meg is going through yet another phase. This time, she thinks she is a lesbian.
Mom, Dad, I am a lesbian.
And even brings her girlfriend Sarah over to meet the family. Now Lois, being the supportive mom that she is, wants to prove to Meg that she's really not a lesbian. So what does she do? She encourages Meg to kiss her girlfriend to prove it.
What do I have to do to prove this to you?
Well, maybe if I'd seen you kiss your girlfriend.
But this kiss was weak, like grandma level weak. But don't worry, Lois isn't about to let that slide. Nope. she steps in to show them how it's really done.
That's no kiss. Watch this.
And Lois kisses Sarah like a pro. I mean, wow, right? And Peter doesn't find out about this little moment while Lois's actions are jaw-dropping. Her next move involves someone even closer to the family, and it's bound to raise some eyebrows. Number 9, Lois and Quagmire. It all starts when the Griffins are on Family Feud, and Peter gets knocked out by the host. And when he wakes up, he has full-blown amnesia. Like, who am I? What's going on levels of amnesia. Lois, being the loving wife that she is, tries everything to jog his memory.
We love each other. That's part of being a family. It means being responsible and faithful.
Well, that doesn't sound very fun.
Well, if that's how you feel, then we no longer have a family.
Boy, I'm glad you said it.
But Peter leaves Lois and the kids to explore life as a single dude.
But this is my house, and I'm not going anywhere.
You don't have to. I'm leaving, and I'm taking the kids with me.
So Lois moves out with the kids, and she's heartbroken.
Well, I'm sorry, honey, but we don't have a choice. Your father doesn't remember his life, and he doesn't want us to be a part of it.
But instead of focusing on fixing her family, she starts looking for comfort. And guess who is conveniently waiting in the wings? Yep, good old Quagmire. Quagmire is all about playing the nice guy card. But Lois doesn't exactly push him away. Nope, she sticks around for dinner and lets herself be charmed by the guy that she knows has always been after her. One glass of wine later, and let's be real, it didn't take that much. Lois and Quagmire end up in bed together. That's right, she doesn't even hesitate. While Peter is out trying to find himself, Lois is cozying up with his best friend. But if you thought that was shocking, wait until you hear about Lois's next boundary-breaking moment. This time, it involves her best friend, Bonnie. Number 10, Lois and Bonnie kiss. This one goes down in the pilot episode of The Cleveland Show, when Cleveland is about to leave Quahog and start a new chapter in Virginia. When he drops a totally unexpected request before he goes, he asks Lois and Bonnie to kiss.
You think you and Bonnie could kiss each other?
Now, most people would just laugh this off and shut it down instantly, right? But not Lois. She is weirdly into it, and without hesitation, she and Bonnie actually go through with it. And while Cleveland gets his little moment, Peter is just sitting there, jaw on the floor. Well, what kind of wife does that in front of her husband? And don't say, it's just a joke. Jokes don't involve crossing boundaries like this. And speaking of crossing boundaries, Lois's next revelation involves a secret from her past that's as shocking as it is embarrassing. Number 11. Lois's secret past comes to light. In this episode, Lois casually drops a bombshell that she starred in an adult film back in college, and she didn't even tell Peter about it.
When I was in college, I was in an adult film.
Instead, she confesses to Joyce Kinney, a journalist that she's barely friends with. Of course, Joyce takes this juicy tidbit straight to the news, blowing Lois's secret wide open.
Church organist Lois Griffin has revealed to this reporter that she appeared in a pornographic movie back in the early 1980s.
What?
But rather than choosing to own up to her own mistake privately, Lois decides to stream the movie at the church to take control of the narrative.
You need to accept the fact that I made a simple mistake. And here it is.
Sure, Lois, because nothing screams maturity like showing your adult film debut to the whole congregation. But when you think she is done shocking everyone, her next move proves she can always take things one step further. Number 12, Larry, Peter's son, and Lois's worst decision yet. The absolute worst offense happens when Lois kisses Larry, one of Peter's donor-conceived children. The moment happens when Larry, a spitting image of a younger Peter, steps into their lives. And instead of setting boundaries like a normal person, Lois kisses him. Yup, she knows it's wrong, but she still goes for it. Then she runs over to Brian, saying it just happened.
Brian, Larry and I sort of crossed a line yesterday.
Oh, sure, Lois, as if that magically makes it okay. But Lois doesn't stop. She keeps hanging out with Larry. Let that sink in. The woman Peter trusted, the mother of his children, had a kiss with another man. It seems Lois has no boundaries, as her next shocking decision involves someone Peter holds dear. Number 13, Lois and Joe. So in this episode, Lois pulls a classic risky move. She starts flirting with Joe Swanson. Yup, even though she is married to Peter, Lois somehow convinces herself that it's no big deal. She brushes it off, thinking that it was all in some good fun. Now, as if flirting with Joe wasn't enough, Lois's next blunder has serious consequences for her and the entire family. Number 14, Lois in prison. This one is when Lois gets caught shoplifting. Now Peter, being the loyal if not totally clueless husband he is, stands by her when she gets arrested. Fast forward and Lois ends up in prison.
3 years in prison?
She doesn't even realize the emotional toll she's putting on her family. Well, her stint in jail was one thing, but Lois's next move nearly cost her family far more than their reputation. Number 15, nearly drowning Stewie. Now this one takes things to a whole new level. It all starts with one simple painkiller, and suddenly, Lois is hooked. There was this one time when Brian's painkillers ran out, and the very last one accidentally dropped into the toilet. She is freaking out, desperate to get it back, but her hands are too big to reach it, so she shoves Stewie into the toilet. Yes, Stewie. Stewie gets sent into the toilet trying to grab the pill, nearly drowning him in the process. Luckily, Brian comes to the rescue and pulls Stewie out just in time. But guys, think about it. Stewie almost drowned, all because Lois couldn't control her addiction. Well, let's face it, Peter Griffin had to put up with a lot over the years, and Lois hasn't exactly been the perfect partner. But what do you think? Should Peter finally call it quits, or is there hope for this chaotic couple? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, because unlike this dysfunctional family, I promise to keep things entertaining. So, I'll see you in the next video.